There is one birthday that quietly changes your retirement. It isn't 50, it isn't 60, and surprisingly, it isn't the day you retire. It's 35. Almost nobody celebrates it differently. Nothing dramatic happens. You don't suddenly earn twice as much. Your retirement account doesn't disappear overnight. Life looks almost exactly the same as it did the week before. And that's exactly why almost nobody sees what's coming. Because the thing that quietly derails the most retirements doesn't look dangerous when it begins. By the time most people realize something has changed, the advantage they lost is already impossible to get back. The strange part? It isn't really about retirement. It's about time. And once time quietly starts working against you instead of for you, every year you wait becomes more expensive than the last. Let's start there. At 35, life finally begins to feel stable. You're probably earning more than you did in your 20s. You've settled into your career. Maybe you've bought a home. Maybe you've gotten married. Maybe you're raising children. For the first time, life doesn't feel like you're constantly trying to catch up. It feels like you're finally moving forward. That feeling is completely understandable. It's also where the retirement problem begins. Because stability creates a dangerous illusion. It convinces you that time is still on your side. You tell yourself you'll start investing more after the next promotion, after the kids get older, after the move, after the credit cards are gone, after life settles down. The problem is that life almost never settles down. Every decade simply gives you a different reason to wait. Your 20s blame low income, your 30s blame responsibility, your 40s blame family, your 50s blame being behind. The reasons change, the waiting doesn't. And while your attention is focused on today's responsibilities, something quietly changes in the background. Not your paycheck, not your investments, the math. Most people think retirement is decided during the last 10 years of their career. In reality, many of the biggest retirement outcomes are shaped decades earlier. Not because 35 is some magical age, but because it's often the point where two incredibly valuable things still exist at the same time: a growing income, and enough years left for compound growth to do its best work. Lose either one, and building wealth becomes much harder. Lose both, and catching up becomes an uphill climb. Think of compound growth like rolling a snowball down a hill. At the beginning, it barely changes. It almost feels disappointing. But every rotation picks up more snow than the one before. Eventually, it becomes something far larger than what you started with. Now imagine stopping that snowball halfway down the hill. You don't just lose the distance it didn't travel. You lose everything it would have collected along the way. That's exactly how waiting works. Most people think delaying retirement investing costs them a few years. In reality, it costs them decades of growth they never actually see. That's why the danger feels invisible. Nothing in your daily life tells you what future wealth quietly disappeared today. Your bank account doesn't warn you. Your paycheck doesn't change. Your house still feels comfortable. Everything appears exactly the same. But behind the scenes, the future is getting smaller. Here's where this becomes even more deceptive. Around your mid-30s, income often starts climbing faster than it ever has before. Raises become larger. Promotions become more common. Your financial confidence grows, and almost without noticing, your lifestyle begins growing right alongside it. The apartment becomes the house. The reliable car becomes the nicer SUV. Vacations become a little longer. Dinner out becomes more frequent. Streaming services multiply. Furniture gets upgraded. Subscriptions quietly appear. Individually, none of these decisions feel irresponsible. That's exactly why they're so difficult to recognize. Because none of them look like financial mistakes. They look like rewards. After all, you worked hard for them. You earned the raise. You deserve to enjoy your success. And that's true. The problem isn't enjoying your money. The problem is allowing every increase in income to disappear just as quickly as it arrived. Every dollar committed to a higher lifestyle becomes one less dollar buying your future freedom. This is why so many people earning six figures still feel like retirement is decades away. It isn't their income holding them back. It's that every raise quietly gets assigned a new job before it ever has the chance to become an investment. And that's where the real retirement mistake begins. Not with one terrible financial decision, but with dozens of completely reasonable ones that slowly replace investing with spending. None of them feel dangerous. Together, they quietly become one of the most expensive decisions a person can make. So what does someone do if they're already 35, or 40, or even 50? The answer isn't to panic. It's to stop believing that retirement is something you'll deal with later. Because later has a way of arriving much faster than expected. One of the biggest advantages you still have is consistency. People often imagine that building retirement wealth requires finding the perfect investment or predicting the next big opportunity. It doesn't. More often, it comes from making one good decision and repeating it month after month for years. Imagine investing $500 every month, not just when the market feels safe, not just after a raise, every month. Some months the market will be down, others it will be up. Most of the time it will feel like nothing important is happening. But that's exactly how wealth is usually built. Quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. The people who retire comfortably aren't always the ones who made the highest salaries. They're often the ones who stayed consistent when consistency felt boring. Because compound growth doesn't reward excitement, it rewards time. That's why waiting for the perfect moment is one of the easiest ways to lose years you'll never get back. There will always be another expense, another vacation, another unexpected bill, another reason to put retirement off until next year. If you wait for life to become financially quiet before you start investing seriously, you may end up waiting forever. Instead, let your investments become another monthly bill, one that pays your future instead of someone else's. There's another shift that can completely change your retirement. Stop thinking in years, start thinking in decades. Many people ask, can I afford to invest $500 this month? A better question is, what could $500 every month become over the next 30 years? That single shift changes almost every financial decision you make. Suddenly, every unnecessary purchase has a future value. Every raise has a future value. Every bonus has a future value. Instead of asking what something costs today, you begin asking what it costs your future. And that's a completely different way of looking at money. It doesn't mean you never enjoy your income. It simply means you become intentional about which dollars build today's lifestyle and which ones build tomorrow's freedom. Financially successful people understand that every dollar can only do one job. It can improve your life today, or it can improve your life decades from now. The goal isn't choosing one over the other, it's making sure both happen. That's why many people automatically increase their retirement contributions every time they receive a raise. Even one or two additional percentage points each year can make an enormous difference over decades. The raise improves today's life a little. The investment improves tomorrow's life a lot. And because the increase happens before lifestyle expands to consume it, most people barely notice the difference. Small decisions repeated consistently almost always outperform dramatic decisions made occasionally. That's true in fitness, it's true in relationships, and it's certainly true with money, which brings us back to where we started. There is one birthday that quietly changes your retirement, not because something dramatic happens that day, not because 35 is a deadline, but because it often becomes the point where people stop paying attention to the one resource they can never earn back: time. The people who retire comfortably usually don't look dramatically different from everyone else in their 30s. They drive similar cars, live in similar neighborhoods, work similar jobs. The difference isn't always visible. It's happening quietly behind the scenes. One person keeps giving time more opportunities to work. The other keeps assuming there will always be more time later. That's the decision that shapes retirement, not all at once, but month after month, year after year. If you're around 35 today, this isn't a reason to worry. It's a reason to notice, because the thing that quietly derails the most retirements doesn't look dangerous when it begins. It looks ordinary. It looks responsible. It looks like waiting just a little longer. But once you recognize that illusion, you can make a different choice. You don't need a perfect portfolio. You don't need to predict the market. You don't need to become a financial expert overnight. You simply need to stop giving away the one advantage that becomes more valuable every single year. Because retirement isn't built by one extraordinary financial decision. It's built by hundreds of ordinary decisions made before they ever feel urgent. And the sooner those decisions begin, the more time has to reward them.